G'day YouTube viewers, welcome back to my channel. I'm gonna do a update on today's flight of Project Icarus and its twin Yellow 70. So today is the 28th of March 2022 and it's been interesting. As we saw, we had a issue of course with the red one, Icarus, with not having the rocket to slide all the way up to where it should be, just like the yellow one. So it only managed to get up to here, that limit. There's some hardened super glue inside that tube, that's why the rocket couldn't slide all the way through. Yellow one, not a problem. As you know, the difference between these two being extremely, pretty much a twin. So same amount of fins, same weight, 70 grams. The balance point or pivot point is exactly the same as well, which is interesting. The lengthwise, exactly the same. I'm using the same two plastic tubes from the bubble thingy. The only difference is pretty much the type of glue I'm using. So that's super glue, hard and super glue, 2-in-1, and that's hot glue. So just coming back to the results here, today's results. Yellow 1, Yellow 70. First flight took 14.03 seconds. After that, the fin came off during the impact. So we didn't have the hot glue gun with us today. Unfortunately, it's been sitting in the garage. Could have been useful out in the field today. So that's where it stopped, discontinued. Icarus, first flight, I was expecting pretty much the same. It is actually pretty much the same. It's only a point something off. Yeah, so 13.56, not far off from Yellow 70, 14.03. Given that the Icarus problem was that we couldn't push the Icarus all the way down towards the PVC tube. Still getting that interesting results, and of course we know what that means. Of course, if you look at the amount of empty space there is in there, so once you release the valve, you got all that sudden rush of air coming in, so the air will just compress. So there's more air being compressed there than it does on the yellow one. So as the rocket takes off, the air goes out, plus you got that extra boost that's sitting up there that's compressed, that's also coming out. So that was the result that we got, 13.56. Interestingly enough, with the second flight, we got 16.43. We're not sure exactly how that managed to get that kind of result. Again, there was no wind outside. They were all shooting up nice and straight. And again, at 100 psi with Icarus, first flight, we got result of 14.63, which is right in between these two. When you're launching something at 100 psi, you're going to lose some timing. Not sure why. If you go back to the blue bubble project that I did, the rocket, if you notice when I launched the blue bubble one, 85 psi at 8.34, as you can see, 90, 782. 95, 842 and a 100 psi, the flight took 7.14. So I was getting more air pressure or more flight time when I'm actually sitting at 95 or 85 or 95, but not much at 90 or 100. And I've noticed on previous rocket flights that these particular two, it's exactly how you see it now. That's how I was getting the results from. So if I was going to do a future launches, it'll either be a 85 psi or a 95 psi. So I wouldn't worry about going 90 or 100. A lot of people tend to go for 80 psi, which is a kind of a magic number, especially those who launch Estes model rockets, or, well, sorry, not Estes, but the water rockets. Water rockets, everyone's tend to run that 80 psi of pressure, which makes them perform better. But once they get a little bit more higher, they tend to lose out for some strange reason. And with the rockets launching from air cannon, it's the same result. So I haven't done the flight at 80, only at 85, at least 4 pressures. So you can see the results on this one too. It proves that launching out at higher pressure, you're going to lose a little bit. It might have something to do with the, again, the temperature inside the air cannon, or it could be just because these two pressures cannot handle performance that very good. So there's that magic number, 80. Again, it's not on the list. Sanding the Icarus didn't do any much difference. It does feel a bit rougher than the yellow one, but didn't really make much difference at all, actually. It's a little bit strange. I could have bought this one, but it wouldn't be fair because this weighs 80 grams. What else can I say about today's flights? Not much at all, but it was just a very interesting flight and how everything turned out. Seeing how we couldn't get Icarus to go all the way down to the pipe properly, but that cushion effect really helped. I've also noticed that at 100 psi on the Icarus, it went extremely high, like I've noticed. But with every other rocket, if there's no wind, as the rocket starts hitting the apogee, if there's no wind, it'll just nose dive or tail dive. It'll just keep going down like this until it finds its balancing point at some stage. So one of the reasons why I'm losing that altitude, it could be because of that. If there was wind blowing, so if this was the tail end and that's the head, the nose cone, the head of the rocket, as it comes to apogee, whichever direction the wind blows, that's where the tail will be heading, and straight away it'll just stabilize itself once it hits apogee, and then come down nice and gently down. But this time around there was no wind outside, and like I said, once it hits apogee, it'll just nose dive, tail dive, and then slowly just settle in for a nice good horizontal landing. So that's it for today's flight. Next flight, we're not sure yet what we're going to do next episode. We've got a couple of leftover bubble tubes here. We've got some rockets here. Can we actually improve somewhat? Can we actually, what can we do to improve these rockets? Do we bump the pressure up higher than 100? I was just thinking that. If you heard my previous episode, I was saying if you just keep taking the pressure up until something gives way. I'm pretty sure these will go off first. These are pretty soft tubes up the front. So if anything will let go, it'll either be the joint area or the tube is blowing up. To blow this is pretty much, it's going to take a lot of PSI just to blow these tubes up. But we'll find out on our next episode. We're going to see if we can push these even higher, faster and higher. And we might actually wait until there's a bit of a breeze, so we can also do a flight duration test and see if we can break a couple of more records in the flight duration. So that's all I got today, guys. So see you next episode, and see what happens then. So bye for now.